Are you curious what fellow knitters are knitting this summer? If so, join me for this video where I will share my summer projects with you. Hi, my name is Juvila and I'm a knitter from Lithuania, currently living in Estonia. I welcome you to Knittinelis, which is a knitting podcast where I chat about yarn, different patterns, and I hope to keep you company while you work on your own knitting projects. Today I would like to share my summer knits with you. I have a couple of finished projects, a couple of works in progress, and also as a little bonus I would love to tell you about my favorite summer reads, because I know that among us knitters there's quite a lot of readers as well. So if that sounds like fun, I hope you'll join me for this video. Before we begin, I would like to start by shortly mentioning what I'm wearing today, and it is camisole number 4 by My Favorite Knits. It actually made my top 5 favorite knitted garments so far, so if you want to see all of them, make sure to check out my previous video. Let's jump in right into the summer knits. As you probably can tell by my pretty dark tan, I just recently came back from vacation, and this year in Estonia it was really lovely and warm. So first part of the vacation I spent here in an island on a yearly vacation tradition that we have with my husband and his family, where we just spend a week away from the world without the phones or electricity, and we just swim in the sea, play cards, read books, knit, and do all the things that in this busy everyday life we usually can't. So that was really relaxing time. And during that time I did some knitting as well. And after that I had another week where we spent just with my husband, 2 of us, traveling through Baltics, so Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania, and tenting. So this time was also really fun, completely different, very active, because we changed so many locations, visited so many places. But the good thing is, while my husband was driving, I had also some time to knit. I have 4 projects in total to show to you, and first let me tell you how I decided what to knit and how did I choose them. So my dear friend is having her baby soon, in the beginning of September, so it was a no-brainer that definitely I'm having some baby knits this summer. I wanted to make something very cute for her little girl, and my friend mentioned that she would like something yellow. So color choice I also had, but about the specific patterns I didn't ask her. I wanted it to be a little bit of a surprise, so I chose them myself. And I spent quite a lot of time going through baby patterns, and they were all so cute, so it was really difficult to choose. But in the end I narrowed it down to 2 sweaters and 1 pair of socks. So that's what I will show you today. And the 4th pattern is a summer bag that I'm knitting for myself from leftover yarns that I had from previous projects. Let's begin with the finished objects, and the very first one is Perfect Newborn Socks by Tabitha Gandee. How cute are they? It's a pattern that I have already knitted once in the past, and it's free for everyone on Ravelry. I absolutely enjoyed knitting it. It was really quick and fun. I love the ribbing pattern and also this long cuff that can be rolled back for even cuter look, I think. One thing to keep in mind, especially if you're a tight knitter, choose a cast-on that is stretchy enough so the little feet can easily go in and it's not pressing on them. I just chose a regular long tail cast-on, but then again I'm not a very tight knitter, so I think the stretch that it gives is plenty. And it took me 2 evenings to finish them, but if you're in a stretch and you need the socks very quickly, then I'm sure you can do it in 1 day as well. Shortly about yarn. So for these socks and for both of the sweaters that I will still show you, I chose DROPS Baby Merino, which is a sport weight yarn. And I made this choice first of all because it's suitable for babies, it's really soft, and second of all because it's machine washable. I didn't want to give this extra headache for my friend carrying to a newborn and still thinking how to hand wash all these fancy sweaters. So I thought it's much more easy if the yarn that I choose is machine washable and she doesn't have to think about it twice, can just pop in the machine, put a bit lower temperature and it's done. And I personally have been washing almost all my drops yarns in machine with the wool regime, and so far I didn't have any big problems or no shrinking sweaters. So I'm really hoping the same for this yarn. For the socks I used color number 2, which is, I believe, off-white. And for the other garments I will tell you as they come what color choices did I make. Let's get the second finished garment, which is this yellow baby Aosta sweater by the Knit Purl girl. It's really cute. The yarn is the same Drops Baby Merino, as I said, and this time is color 45 lemon. Also for the little buttons I used Drops buttons made out of oak wood, and it's 15 millimeters. Originally this pattern was meant for DK weight yarn and 4mm needles, but since Drops Baby Merino it's a little bit thinner, it's sports weight yarn, so I used 3mm needles to compensate for it and also adjusted for the size. And also all of it is knitted in Andalusian stitch, besides the ribbing of course. And I have not knitted this stitch before, but I really enjoy this almost waffle-like texture that it creates. This design detail, the button band on the side, I really appreciate, both how it looks like, but also that it should be much more convenient to put a sweater on the baby, so you can open up the buttons and it leaves a way bigger opening for little head. Yeah, since my friend also mentioned that she would like something yellow for her baby, I hope both her and her little girl will enjoy it. We're done with the finished projects and now let's go to works in progress. So I have one more baby sweater to show to you, and that is Friday Baby Sweater by PetiteKnit. Currently it's looking a little bit chaotic because I have 3 balls of yarn and oh, this whole mess in here. Yeah, I decided to make it out of 3 different colors, even though in the pattern it was only 2, one for the main color and one for the stripes. I don't know, for me it just really looked so festive, this combination of yellow and pink. So the yellow is the same number 45 lemon, and the pink color is number 46, I think it's called blush. I will put it up here so you know for sure, but this color, as I know, is discontinued, so I'm pretty sure I found one of the last balls, and unfortunately Drops is not making it anymore. And for the main color I'm using the same number 2 of white as I used for the socks. Original pattern is knit in fingering weight yarn and 3mm needles. Since this is sports weight yarn, a bit thicker, the sweater came out a bit bigger because I was still using the same needles, but I figured that, you know, for baby sweaters the gauge is not so important in my opinion, because anyways, babies grow fast, so if the sweater is a tiny bit bigger, it's not a problem. So this sweater took me definitely longer than Aosta sweater. It's much slower with all this color changes and carrying the yarn. I don't know, somehow for me it wasn't such a mindless knit and I needed to concentrate a bit. As you can see, I have only a tiny bit of one sleeve left and the second sleeve, and I have 2 more days to finish it because then I'm meeting my friend and I already want to gift it to her. So yeah, wish me luck, I hope I'll finish it on time, and after I finish this video I'll go straight back to knitting it. One thing that was also mentioned in the pattern and something to take a note of is that you should really choose a loose cast on, because this is a double collar, like folded collar, and once you fold it, if it was cast on very tightly, then the stretch is just not enough to be comfortable for the baby. I chose my most commonly used long tail cast on and I did it rather loosely, so you can see that the stretch is really good and I think there won't be any problems while trying to put it on, and as well it's definitely loose enough to feel comfortable around the neck. And I love the look of this folded neckline, it's just really lovely finish. What I also enjoy about this sweater is the texture, so this is broken rib stitch used throughout, except the ribbing of course, where it's just usual 1 knit 1 purl. I feel like this summer in general I was choosing quite a lot of textured knits. As you saw, that baby Aosta sweater was a textured one, this one as well, and the last knit I will show you is a textured garment. So I don't know what happened to me. Is it summer? Is it just change of taste? Because I've been knitting a lot of plain stockinette in the past, but now I do feel like I want to feel something with my hands a bit more while I'm knitting it. The very last item is a Salutorget bag by Sari Nordlund. And first of all, I must say that I love Sari's patterns. I have knitted some of her scarves before, and they were very beautifully written, easy to follow. I enjoyed the end result as well. But how did I choose to knit this specific bag was that I had 4 balls of leftover drops bell yarn from my summer Ranunculus blouse. If you want to find out more about it, I will leave a link to the video where I chat about it. Yeah, I was just looking for a project that I could make with this yarn. I was looking at different bags, and this one by Sari just looked the nicest and the most matching my style, so I went ahead with it. So I will show you what I have so far. Ooh, not so easy to show. So a bit floppy at the moment, but that's gonna be the bag. I'm knitting it rather big. I'm hoping to use it as a beach bag or maybe even market bag. But I have to say, so far it was such a frustrating knit. And it's nothing to do with the pattern. Pattern is written very well, it's easy enough, just 4 different rows pattern repeat. I think it's either my vacation brain or just something with my focus, but I just couldn't do it. First of all, I knit quite a big chunk and I had to completely frog it because I made a mistake. I couldn't figure out where, so it just seemed easier to start from zero. And second time I made a mistake again, but then I managed to fix it with just stripping a couple of rows. So yeah, when anyone was asking how is it going with this bag, I was saying, oh, it's so frustrating, or like, oh, it's so boring, because when it was going easy, then it was rather boring, you know, just same 4 rows on repeat. So I don't know. Take it with a grain of salt. If you would like to knit this pattern, I would say go ahead. But for me personally, it wasn't my favorite. Even though I like how it's turning it out, and the texture is very beautiful as well. Also, one thing to note that I would suggest to choose a little bit bigger needles than it's suggested if you're using drops bell. Because in the pattern, I think it says to use 3mm needle, but for me it was just too tight. So I chose 3.5, and then it felt way more comfortable on my wrists. So if you by any chance decide to use the same yarn that I'm using, then keep it in mind. I think I'll still finish this garment because I love how it looks like and the texture is very beautiful, but I won't rush it. Maybe until the next summer. So that's it with all my summer garments. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I also hope I'll finish that last baby sweater on time. And if so, I will insert a short clip of all the garments and how they look next to each other as well. But before I end this video, as promised in the beginning, I will share with you a couple of my favorite summer reads. And why do I even talk about books? Is, first of all, I know a lot of knitters are also passionate readers, and second of all, because the past year I was reading a lot of business-related books, books about marketing, because I was changing my career direction and didn't have so much time for just casual reads. And even if I was reading something more relaxing, some, I don't know, thriller or sci-fi, I just couldn't find anything that would really would be a book that I could say it's really 5 stars out of 5. I enjoyed my time reading it. So during this vacation I found a couple, and I thought I will share it with you, since maybe you'll want to listen to an audiobook while you're knitting, or just make a pause from knitting and read a book and make a pause from book and knit again. So here are my two favorite books I have read this summer. The very first one is Flowers for Algernon, written by Daniel Keyes. And this book follows Charlie, a young man who has remarkably low IQ and quite a strong motivation. So he wants to learn how to read, how to write, understand the world better, and he gets a chance to participate in some experiment where scientists will make his IQ higher. And I won't tell you too much about it, I don't want to give it all away. Also, I know there's a movie based on this book, but I haven't seen it so far. But what I enjoyed the most was this character development, the way how author expressed his thinking, and just really interesting way of showing this metamorphosis of the person. And I feel like it had quite a lot of philosophical topics as well. Are we happier once we are smarter, or is it even necessary to lead a happy life? What are the actual values for humans? Is it smartness? Is it kindness? So I would really recommend you to read it if you haven't yet. The book was originally published in 1966, I believe, so maybe you have heard about it already. I definitely have heard about it before, but for some reason I thought it's rather a recent book, and I don't know, it just never got my attention before. But I'm so happy I read it and would even like to reread it one day in the future. The second book is My Husband by Maud Ventura. I borrowed an ebook from my local library, and to be honest, I didn't have a lot of expectations, and from the description it wasn't even very clear what kind of book it will be. It just, I don't know, it just caught my eye, and once I started reading it, I was really captivated by it. So the book follows a woman who's been married to her husband for almost 2 decades, but she's still having the same feelings to him as when she met him. So all the butterflies, all the nervousness, all this just recently falling in love feelings, and she's really trying to hide it because she suspects it's not very usual to be living with a person in the same routine, already having kids and, you know, the social life, but still having all those feelings that are very in the beginning of relationship. And this book takes rather a dark turn. I would say it's even has some thriller vibes, so if that's something up your alley, I would highly recommend it. And the character development was also very interesting for me. I hope you found something for yourself in this video, either some knitting inspiration or reading recommendations. And I wish you a great rest of the summer, and see you soon in the next video. Bye!